Mr. Stephen King is the topic of today's video. He speaks for himself. I really do. I mean, his name says everything that needs to be said. I don't need to do anything. He does the job for me. I'm just kidding. One of the most prolific authors maybe ever. He's, according to Google, published 65 books, which is wild. I think some of that 65 has been written under another name, but I do know that name and it's escaping me right now. Anyway, he is a magnificent storyteller. Everybody knows who he is. Even if you're not in the book world, you know who Stephen King is. And that is the mark of a successful person, which I think is actually incredibly difficult for an author to get to that level of fame. They don't have the same visual that they do with actors and singers. Authors, to be that famous, you have to be really, really good at what you do. And Stephen King is the epitome of that. His books have led to some of the most revered movies outside of the book world, but people will have seen his movies and maybe not even know that they come from a Stephen King book, but they know the movie. Like, everything he touches is gold, honestly. He has made The Shining, It, Cujo, Stand By Me. What else? I feel like I'm missing a major... Shawshank Redemption. Those are major, major films, and they come from his books. So I've read 3 Stephen King books. I didn't read any up until 2023, just because I always kind of wrote him off because I'm not a horror reader. He's worth it. He's worth expanding out of the genres that I'm used to. I also think in literary circles and certain book spheres, he's not seen as like one of the great authors. He's still, I think, generally considered genre fiction and not literary, which I do get because a lot of his books are plot driven rather than character driven, but he knows how to write a good character. He knows how to tell a good story. And personally, that's all I'm looking for in an author. Someone who can carry a good storyline with good writing and good characters. That's really all we're asking, honestly, in a book. And he does all 3 incredibly well. So the first one that I read was 11/22/63. This is a time travel story, so it's not a horror, although I do think that there's still that you can tell that he's a horror writer. There's still that element of mystery and a little bit creepy, honestly, throughout the book. So I think you can tell what genre he normally writes in, but it isn't the focus of the book. It's a time travel story about a man who finds a portal that takes him back to the 1960s, and he is tasked with rewriting history in stopping or changing the JFK assassination and then the ripple effect that would have. There's a little bit of romance in there. Very well done, very tastefully done. I do not like romance. I like it okay in a book when it's not the sole focus, but it has to be done well. I can't just read a romance book. It's just not for me. So if it appears in a story where I'm not expecting it, it has to be done well. And I think he did such an incredible job of weaving that romantic storyline into the rest of the book. This book is long. It's 900 and something pages. I don't know exactly. It probably depends on your copy too. I don't have a physical copy because the UK cover, once again, sucks. I did read that he delayed writing this book because when he had the idea, it was too close to the actual JFK assassination. So this actually wasn't published until 2011. Maybe for the better, because obviously he's had 4 decades by that point of writing experience. So therefore, the story will be better because he's had 40 years of honing his craft. Anyway, would highly recommend that one. And I'm glad that that was the first King that I read, because I think if I'd have read a horror King first, I maybe wouldn't have, maybe I would, I don't know, but because it's not what I usually gravitate towards, I might not have chosen to continue with his work, whereas that one really left a good impression on me. So I can't wait to read more of his stuff. I then didn't read any other King work until I read his memoir, which I read last year because I went through a phase of being interested in creative writing, and I thought, who better to get some advice from than a man who's written 65 books? I would have to read only Stephen King for a year and a half, maybe even longer, to finish his entire body of work. Nothing else. I could read nothing else but Stephen King books for a year and a half plus. That's crazy. Most authors, I feel like, publish like less than 10-ish books. Like, some people only publish a few. Like Donna Tartt, she's incredibly successful. She's published 3 books. Like 65 is a crazy number. What a guy, honestly. Anyway, so this is On Writing, a memoir of the craft. This is really well written. He has a really great balance. It's like a blend of memoir and an instruction manual. Anyway, oh, that's quite nice actually. This heat wave. I am hot. It's just blown dust into my eye. It's going well. Anyway, so I thoroughly enjoyed this. It's actually quite lengthy for a memoir. It's like 400 pages. I think maybe because it's not just about his life. It's obviously about all the books he wrote, what he was thinking and feeling when he wrote them, when he wrote those books, how his life at that time bled into the characters. It's just really, really interesting. If you've read any of King's work, you'll really enjoy reading this. If you like memoirs, you'll enjoy reading this. If you're interested in creative writing, you'll enjoy reading this. Definitely, even though it's non-fiction, would definitely recommend it. Last Stephen King book that I read and what kind of inspired me to make this video is The Shining. I read this last month. Absolutely loved it. Again, The Shining is probably one of his most famous works. It is, if you don't know, a story of a family of 3. The dad is a caretaker of a hotel over the winter time, and all hell breaks loose. Basically, the hotel possesses them, and that is all you need to know. He is such a magnificent storyteller. He creates such good characters with really believable chemistry. He's just a really fantastic writer. He was put on this earth to write stories, and that is the long and the short of it. I loved The Shining. I didn't so much like the movie. I think because I watched it after I read the book, I felt like a lot of detail was missing, which does usually happen with book to movie adaptations. I do think they kind of veered away from King's original work, and the ending was different, and I just think the book did a better job. But that's my personal opinion. I know that a lot of people love The Shining as a film. His work has brought on some really classic movies. Like, people that aren't in the book sphere have probably seen those movies and love them. They might not even know they come from Stephen King, but everybody knows who Stephen King is. He is a household name, which is so incredible for an author to be. Because I feel like there is a very select handful of authors that aren't classic authors that, you know, they don't know because you've done them in school or whatever. Like, just regular modern authors that are as famous to be known by, like, basically every man and his dog. So that's my conclusion on Stephen King, is that he's a great writer. I'm not really saying anything new here. I'm not really, you know, this is no groundbreaking discovery. But I just really wanted to chat about it. So please recommend your favourite Stephen King books. I have got on my radar, I would like to read Pet Sematary, Salem's Lot and Carrie. Carrie mostly because I'm interested to see how a grown man has successfully written a story about a teenage girl who gets her period, because he obviously didn't have that experience. So I would like to know what he's drawing from to do that well. I'm just interested. Can't wait to read more of his work. I'm really glad that I have read his work, and I actually, just looking at my bookshelf, I think he's one of the authors I've read the most from. I really need to work on doing like author focus, because I have a habit of like bouncing. Like I'll kind of read based on mood and the story. It makes sense to read continually the same authors, because you know you're going to like their work. If you liked 1 or 2 of their books, you're going to like the rest most of the time. But yeah, I don't tend to do author focus, so he is actually one of the authors I've read the most work from, which I'm not complaining. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!